Welcome to Making an Income from Your Own Internet University. This is Module 1, the Introduction. If you look anywhere on the internet at the moment, you'll find huge opportunities for learning a new skill, a new trade. The amount of online learning has quadrupled over the last few years. There's literally millions of pounds, millions of dollars being spent on online education, whether it's the Open University here in the United Kingdom to individual niche training opportunities. What I'm going to show you in this video series is how to make an income from your own internet university, how to actually put a course up there online with some unique facilities that are available free of charge to you. You'll see a number of items here, including how to configure your own university portal, how to write and how to put together some individual teaching modules, as well as those with multimedia as well, and how to interact with your students so you can keep them coming back for more. So then, let's dive in. Module 2. How to organize your curriculum. You need to gather all of the material for your course together in one place. And then you need to split it up into sections. You need to collate your textual material, gather your multimedia items, and get them into presentation order. For example, for the purposes of this exercise, we're going to be putting a program together called Homeschooling 101. And this document here has the whole shooting match, the whole course there together. And I'm going to split this up into a variety of units for my curriculum: an introduction, getting started, tips for writing education plan, a sample education plan, choosing teaching materials, 10 steps to developing a quality lesson plan, and sample lesson plans, scheduling and planning lessons, homeschooling gifted and special needs children, and then followed by a summary. So that's what the curriculum is for this course. Most of these will be textual units. And for the purpose of this course, I'm actually, for the introduction, going to be putting in a little QuickTime movie, which really is nothing more than a PowerPoint presentation with an audio attached. But I wanted to give you some example of multimedia that you can put into your course. So that's the sum total of the items we have. And this is how we're going to put it all together. First of all, we're going to collate all of our textual material. From the original master documents, I split up the course into a number of components. This folder here on my computer has a number of items. It has all of the various units. It's got the PowerPoint presentation here. I'll give you an example. If I double click on 10 steps, wait for this to come up, you'll find this is one of the modules here called 10 Steps to Developing a Quality Lesson Plan. And there we go. And that's going to be one of the units we're going to use. But as I say, we've brought them together all in one place, in one folder. Also in your folder, or in a place that you can get at them, gather your multimedia items. For this particular presentation, I've just got one multimedia item. It's this Homeschool 101 intro movie. I'm just going to double click. It should come up with QuickTime on my machine here. Now this is the movie. Now I don't know whether you can see this because one of the problems in trying to capture a capture is that they can overlay each other. But sufficient to say that I do have here an audio visual presentation which is the introduction to our course. That's under Homeschool 101 Intro, and when we come to building the course you'll see how that I embed that in. And finally you need to get them into presentation order. You will have noted when I was showing you my folder a moment ago that I numbered each section. Keep them in some kind of order so you'll know what you're presenting, what you're putting into your whole of your curriculum there. So there we are. We've organized our material and we're ready to create our our university portal. Module 3, creating your university portal. Now this is where we start the actual work. The splendid news, the actually very, very good news indeed, is that you won't have to install any software on your own server or pay for any software to be created for you. There is a web service called Nuvo, that's N-U-V-V-O, www.nuvo.com, which provides all the software that you need absolutely free of charge. When I say free of charge, I mean that if you want to give your modules, your training away for free, then they won't charge you anything. If you want to create a business from this and actually charge people for their education, then Nuvo will take a small fee. It's about 8% from it. But that's absolutely an amazing cost when you consider the amount of software involved to drive this university portal. So let's get going and create our university portal then. So here we are at nuvo.com, N-U-V-V-O. Very clean, simple, and I was going to say very nice. Nice is not a good word. A pleasing site, a very pleasant site to be on. So let's create our online university here. We'll click on try it out. It's easy. First of all, we tell them about ourselves. My name is Leonard. My last name is Payne. And the email address I'm going to give here is Skills University, you see, at gmail.com, my Google Mail. I'll put it in a second time, skillsu at gmail.com. Next thing we do is to choose our site title. I'm going to put Skills U again, which is great, and the web address. Now you'll notice, just as I scroll down here a little bit, it's always .learnhub next, so I'm going to have skillsu.learnhubnet. You might want to read the service agreement. Open a new window there. Have a quick look at their service agreement and make sure that they're not taking away your granny. It's actually a PDF, so I'm not going to read that now. Normally there's nothing to worry about, but if you want to read the small print, perhaps you should do so. Oh, well, there you go, readers coming up. We'll have a quick scan through this. Always so much stuff there. Suffice to say that there are terms and conditions, and you would be well advised to read them. Let's go back. Yes, I've read and agreed, and I'm going to sign up. Let's just wait for that to do its job. And it says that my sign up was a rousing success. There you go. And my password and instructions have been sent to skillsu@gmail.com. And then I'm going to be able to sign on here at SkillsU Learn HubNet. Let's open up a new window and go and pick up my mail. So here I am at Google Mail, Gmail, SkillsU, if you remember. And I'm going to sign in there. Let's just wait and see what it has to say. Loads up my mail. Junk in there, but you never know. We could be very lucky. And here we are from Nuvo. Do not respond. It says you have created a new learning portal. Let's click on this here and see what it has to say. And here's the email here. We've created a new e-learning portal with some information of frequently asked questions, etc., etc. Here is my password here, which I'm just going to file or edit. Sorry, copy that. Copy the password, and I'm going to log on here. SkillsULearnHub.net. Wait for this to come up. And here we are. My email, of course, is skillsu@gmail.com. And my password, I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to do, that was a Control V I did there. Sign in. Oh, it says incorrect. Let me just go back there for a moment. Well, I just checked that, so let's IAYSX, and I'll change that U. This could be case sensitive. I like the uppercase U when I'm advertising it, but may not be so here. So we'll sign in here, see what happens. Yeah, so there we go. We're there. First thing I want to do is to change that password, because I shall never ever remember that. Gives me the opportunity for a Skype name as well, so we can talk to our end users. Let's click on password here. Old password. New password is and change the password. And that's it. We are successfully set up. I think that's a nice name, SkillsU, and I also have a website for that as well. Always try to tie in a website with this as well. You could find that very handy and useful for back-end sales. So there we go. We've set up our online university, or our learning portal, depending upon what you want to name it. And we're next going to move on to module 4, which is going to be creating and building our first course. Module 4, building your first course. Now, almost everything that happens on Nuvo is linked to a course. You're going to need to create a course in order to build content, write blogs and messages, or enroll students. And even if you're not sure when you'll be running the course or what it will be, you can create a course and then change it around later. Now, when you sign in, the first thing you're going to see is your dashboard. It's going to be empty right now, but after you're up and running, the dashboard will provide you with a summary of all that is new and important in all of your courses. So let's get down and build our very first course. So here we are. I've gone to SkillsU learnhub.net and I'm going to sign in with my email and password. And here we are, having logged in. I'm going to click on here to create our first course. And we'll wait for the course creation page to come up. And here we are. I'm going to give it a name which will be recognizable. Home Schooling 101. And I'm going to give it a code, because everything will needs a code. HSC-001. Enter our course description here. And I'll give you some details of what you need to enter in. I'm going to just start by putting a small description in here. This course is an introduction for all those wishing to learn about homeschooling. It consists of 8 modules and is self-paced. Delete some of the other stuff, and instructor finger trouble again. Just make that a capital letter there, and I will put an email address. That's all I want to do for that now, and we're going to create the course. We're going to start date, obviously American style dates here. We're going to start it on 04 dash. In fact, what we'll do, we're going to click on the we're going to start it on the 4th of the 4th, and we're going to finish it, although we could always change the finish dates later, and we'll start it in the 4th of May. Give them a month in order to do that. And enrollment limit, I'm going to put 100 as the number of minutes. Advertise on the portal. Yes, free advertising. That's on Nouveau's portal. So create new course. And there it is there. And that's it. We've successfully built a course, or at least created a course. We're going to be learning in a moment how to fill it with individual teaching modules. Module 5, building the individual teaching modules. This is where it gets really interesting and quite fun. Nouveau calls the individual teaching modules learn pages, and that's a term you'll get used to. These are educational web pages that display our course curriculum, our course content for our students. They're easy to build, and they're going to display text and images, multimedia and HTML. There is so much you can do with that. This is the course building tool, so we need to learn how to use this constructively. The examples I'm going to be used are essentially mostly plain text, so I'm not going to be building any HTML pages, but we will see how that's done. I'm going to be putting in one multimedia segment as well. So let's move on and build our individual teaching modules. After we get to our home, our dashboard here, we'll click on Courses, just here. And we'll jump to our course. Remember, we called it HSC, Homeschooling 001. I could name that 101, couldn't I, really? And then we're going to click on this item here, curriculum. Can you see it there? Just there on the side. And it quite rightly says we haven't created any content yet and gives some explanation. We're going to create first of all our new Learn pages. Later on we'll look at evaluation pages and if we need to, although not necessary, folders. But let's create our new Learn page, our first one. And here we see it here. We're going to click on Edit, the Edit button. Wait for this to come up. And here's our new Learn page here. Now, as I say, this is an Edit Learn page screen. There's many different options for creating them, from simple text, which is what we're going to be doing, to multimedia and HTML. We're going to start with a simple page, title, text. And what we're going to do is to click this Edit button here on the new Learn page, and we're going to put in some basic details first of all. First thing we're going to do is to give it a title, and I'm going to give it to Getting Started. I'm going to keep a numbering scheme here, always useful to see where you're going. With nothing else, we're going to save this away. Wait for that to come up. The next thing we're going to do, see this drop down box here. We're going to go to Heading. We're going to make this large text for this one, and we're going to center it. And I'm going to put the heading here as well. Homeschooling, Getting Started. And I'm going to save this away. And here we are. Homeschooling, Getting Started. Now after this I could insert some multimedia or rich text. I'm actually going to go just for rich text rather than multimedia here. Wait till this comes up. And I'm going to go sideways to cut and paste the first module. And so here we are. Here's my Word document. I'm not going to take the title because we've already got that, but I'm going to go all the way down to the end. That's it. And I'm going to edit and copy. And then I'm going to minimize this and back to our Getting Started. And I'm going to paste it in here. And there you go. I'm going to leave the size as is, as we had from our let's try 14, I think. No, I will change the font. That's a tad big, I think. Let's select it all. And there's an even better way. There's a button here, paste from Word, which is what I've done. And here we are. I'm going to save that. And there it is, our first item. I'm going to make one other edit here in this section, which is essentially the header, and that I'm actually going to make it visible for the whole shooting match, for the whole lot. And let's save that away. And that should be done. That's our first module there. And if we go back to our course curriculum, you'll see it here, Getting Started, not yet released. Click on that, and there is your first module. What more can you want? Let's go and add another couple. I'll do these as fast as we can, and then we'll look at multimedia. Let's back to the curriculum, and we'll create a new Learn page. And here's the new Learn page. We'll edit. Edit this. Section 3. Tips for writing your education plan. Take that off, call start. We'll save that. We could try actually making it available at all times. Let's save this one. A lot of options there we could go through. Writing your education plan. Now we're going to insert some content. Rich text again. Section. And we're going to click on this, paste from Word. Wait till that comes up. And there you go. I'm actually going to taking out that section there. We'll save that away. And let's go back to the curriculum. And here we are. We've got item 3 there as well now. Now I'm not going to leave this movie open whilst I load all the other pages up, but I'm going to come back at the end and show you them all before I put the multimedia item in. So here we are again, back at our curriculum, and I've put in modules 2 to 8. And you click on any of them and you'll see the whole unit there. Click on the back button and you'll find some other items. Homeschooling gifted and special needs children. Everything there. So there we are. We've built our individual teaching modules for this particular educational unit. I'm now going to go on in a moment to building the modules, but this time with some multimedia attached. Make it a little bit more complex, and we can see and give you plenty of ideas of what you can do with this. Module 6, building the individual teaching modules with multimedia. In our last module, we saw how to build individual teaching modules as text-based items. You saw me produced 7 out of 8 modules there. Now I'm going to show you how to build individual modules with multimedia. In this case, with a Windows Media Player video file. So here I am back to my portal with HSC 001, which is my course. We'll go to the curriculum, and here you see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the modules we've created so far. I'm now going to create a new Learn page again. And here it is down the bottom here, and I'm going to click on the Edit button. Wait for this to come up. And here we are, the new Learn page. I'm going to click on the Edit button here. And we're going to call it Item 1, Introduction. And save this away. I'm also going to put just a little bit of content in here. I'm going to put a bit of rich text in here, just to let people know that the item below is a multimedia movie and will take a short time to download. And I'm going to save that away. And there you are, just a little bit of item. I'm now going to insert some more content, and this time multimedia. There are a number of options here. You could have Windows Media, QuickTime Video, some odd sound files if you had an MP3, an audio file, Flash or Shockwave. I'm choosing Windows Media here, and I'm going to browse on my computer to find it. And I'm browsing through, and here it is. So open this up. I'm going to find out what size it is, first of all, just by coming out of this for a moment. And by doing a Control-I on the item, I can see that the dimensions are 792 by 588. That's what I'm interested in. And we're back in here. So I'm going to put 792 to 588 here, and I'm going to click on the Insert button, and we'll see it's beginning to upload. We'll return when this is finished. And so here we are, it's finished. And as we scroll down here, and here is our multimedia file. You certainly need to scroll down to see it all. If I now click play, it connects to the media, takes a little while to come down.
Hi there and welcome to Homeschooling 101. This is the introduction. The decision to homeschool.
Now you may not be hearing that there because, as I say, I'm trying to capture a capture, but you can see precisely what you can do by introducing content here. There are so many other things you can do on one of these pages. Let me just save this away for a moment and go to and try to create something else. Let me just, I'm going to go back to curriculum. I could create another new Learn page. Here we are, new Learn page, edit mode. You can insert a header here, remember here. But look at the content here. Under rich text is a very interesting feature. You can just type here, although you could go to this option, HTML. Now an HTML editor will come up in a moment. Here we go. And this is an HTML source editor. And you can type in here your HTML code, or indeed if you were to create something in your HTML editor, a nice page with plenty of color and graphics, you could paste that in here and that would become part of your teaching module. The possibilities are really endless here. It's also a useful way to build back-end profits, and when we come to our final module, you'll see how I could use the HTML section of these pages for back-end profits. Let's go back to our curriculum. There's this new Learn page not released. I'm actually going to delete this item. I don't need it. Yes, of course I do want to delete it. Yes. And now I'm going to put things in order. I want to move introduction right to the top, so I'm going to go here. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. Let's move this one back up again. You see how that's moved. Move it up again. Move this up again. Move this up again. I'm going to move this all the way up to the top. And there we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All there. Now you can repeat these steps in any order you like, and as many times to create as many Learn pages or modules as your curriculum needs. But here's one course that I've built. Next we're going to move on to building evaluation pages. Module 7, Building Evaluation Pages. In our previous modules, we've been looking at creating individual teaching modules or Learn pages, and evaluation pages are very, very similar, but they have extra features for evaluating students, or indeed to get response when you evaluate the course. Let me show you what I mean. Here we are back at the curriculum, and as you can see, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Learn pages there. Now we could put an evaluation page after each section. Let me give you an example of this. I'm going to create a new eval page. You see I click there. And here it is at the bottom here. New eval page. I'm going to edit this. I'll edit it. You remember we did all of this when we were creating the teaching modules. I'm going to just call it 1 evaluation. And then if this is for our introduction, you'll remember. And there we go. I'm now going to insert some content first of all, some rich text, just some plain text in this matter. Please fill the evaluation questions below. And I'm going to save that away. Here we are. The next thing, I'm actually going to insert the question itself. And it's either going to be a multiple choice question, a true or false question, or a subjective question. Let's try the multiple choice first of all, shall we? And here we are. It wants to know the number of choices you've got, and you can have up to 10 choices. We'll have 2 choices here. And we have to say right up front what the correct answer is, A or B. If we actually had 10 questions, we would have all the way down to there. But I'm going to have just 2 questions for this here, and the correct answer is going to be A. And I'm going to give it a mark value of 5. And so the question is as follows. Question then. Is time commitment a major factor in home schooling? Now, if you're doing some serious training using your own internet university, then you will need to think very carefully about the evaluation questions. This one is a simple one. Yes and no in this case. Remember, our correct answer is A. Yes, you better believe that time commitment is a major factor. Let's save that away, and here we are. I'm going to insert another question, which in this case again is this time is true or false. This last one could have been true or false, but I made it multiple choice. I could have asked another more extensive question and had a number of different replies that would give rise to at least a greater understanding of the subject matter. The answer here is false. So I'm going to give this 5 marks, and the question is as follows. It is okay, pardon my finger trouble, there we go. It is okay for only one parent to be happy with homeschooling their children. I'm going to save that away. And there you go. It's just a true or false here. I'm going to go back now to the curriculum. And I'm actually going to move this up so that it appears immediately after the introduction. Keep moving this up. And there we go. I've put the evaluation after the introduction here. Now you could, as I say, put an evaluation after each module, but you don't want your students to get too tired. But I'm going to create another evaluation page for the end. And this I think would be a good one. Create new evaluation page. Seems I did that twice. Let me get rid of one of them. Didn't appear last time. Click on the yes button. And so we've just got the one there, the evaluation page. Let's just click on the edit button. I'm going to edit the top of it. I'm going to call this student essay and evaluation. I'm going to save this away. I'm going to insert a little bit of context here. Please would you be so kind as to firstly let us know. No, I'm just going to go back a sec for this here. Firstly, to fill out the items below, because we're going to items below, and we're going to save this away. Scroll down, save, and there we go. I'm now going to insert a question, and this time it's going to be subjective. Okay, we have two answers, two answer formats: text box or user uploaded file. The first one, we're actually going to make a text box. Please could you say what worked well for you, i.e. positive aspects, and what items needed to be better and why. I'm just going to clean up this editing a little. There. And I'm going to save that away. I'm not going to put a model answer there. Actually, I want to edit this again because I actually want to give it... Oh, we have an error there. One moment. Well, a slight problem with the edit function of this item here, but all we need to remember is that we need to make sure that we give the number of points accurately as we start off. Remember, we've got two items at 5 points each and one at 1 point, so a total of 11 points. The next item, I actually want to insert another item, again subjective, but this time I'm going to have a user uploaded file, and I'm actually going to give this 89 points. And the question is, in around 500 words, how would you set about your initial research to homeschool your children? Now, the reason why I say user uploaded file, they may want to create it in Word or something else, and this gives them far more flexibility. I'm not going to give a model answer. I'm just going to save this away. And Bob's your uncle. What I'm going to do is now go back to curriculum. And I'm going to leave this one at the bottom there. If we, because that's the final thing they'll do. If I now click on it to see what they will see, Student essay and evaluation. Question 1, please could you say what worked for you? Question 2. And remember, there were 10 additional points on the first evaluation page. So you can build up your evaluation pages, your exams if you like, step by step. In the next section we're going to look at the student gradebook. Module 8, the student gradebook. Well, we've set up our teaching modules, our individual learn pages, and you've seen how to set up a couple of evaluation pages. And you may want to put those after each module or have one at the end like I have. I have one near the beginning and one at the end. We're now going to set up the gradebook, and this is a very simple task and a delight. Here we are at our curriculum, and as you can see we've got our introduction and evaluation, our first one, and we've got our summary and student essay and evaluation. I'm now going to create a new not a new eval page, we've got our eval pages. We're going to click on marking scheme here. And here we are. The final mark is 100. We're not going to edit this, but in this box here you'll find a list of all your evaluations. I've got one and the student essay and evaluation. I'm going to add this first one to the marking scheme. Now automatically has 100 as its weight, but you'll remember we had 2 questions of 5 each, so I'm going to change the weight here of this paper to 10. So I'm going to edit this and change this to 10, 5 marks each, and I'm going to update the weight. And then, as you can see, this is the only one we've got left, the student essay and evaluation. I'm going to add this to the marking scheme, edit it, and this was 90, the other marks, 89 for the essay and 1 for that odd question. And we'll update the weight here. You can also create a custom mark to give them an extra couple of points just for showing up. They'll always get the custom mark here. And there you go, that's your marking scheme. You could have a quick look at grades over here, and this is where the students, as they come in down here, you'll see the grades that they have. So there's your grades, your marking scheme, your gradebook. We're going to move on to events now, to schedule some events. Module 9, the semester or course diary. This is where we schedule events, and it's a good tool to organize your course events and to let students know what's happening and when. It's going to display your events in calendar form, and a condensed version appears at the dashboard. Your students are going to see exactly the same schedule on their end, so it's another way to communicate and keep in touch. So let's schedule an event. Here we are back at our curriculum again, and instead of going down the side here, we're actually going to go to My Schedule. Click on the top. Here's the calendar here. You can see when I'm here today, the 16th of March. I'm going to go forward to April, click on here, and here we see the start of the course. If we go forward to May, you'll see the end of the course here. Let's go back to the start of the course, and here we are. Now I'm going to create an event every couple of days so that people can get through the assignments and reading schedule that we have for them. So I'm going to create a new event. first module, H schedule for completion. I was going to actually say that module 1, I think, rather than first. Schedule for completion there. Not really worried about the time. April. Let's go forward to that. And we'll say Friday the 7th of April. Create new event. Oh, I need to change the hour as well. Let's change that to 15 AM. 1:15 AM. Create new event. And if we go forward to April now, and there's an event. Let's go down to the end of May. You could fill these out with events. And I'm going to have a new one for the 4th of May. Create new event. Completion of all modules due. I'm going to make this at 12 PM in May. Make that on the 4th of May. And click on Create New Event. Forward to April. Forward to May. And there we go. Now, I would suggest that you use the schedule for reminders for students of when their assignments are due. But you could also, if you're going to engage in some kind of interactive dialogue with your students, could mark these on here as well. But very, very good for the semester or student diary. Module 10, Enrollments and Finance. Now, your use of Nuvo is absolutely free, or at least in this version. You can have up to 25 megabytes of space there. There are paid-for versions as well, which are still quite inexpensive. It's also at the outset, these courses are free for your students, but you can charge them as well. Now, there's a big debate here. If you allow your students access for free to your courses, you could use those as an introduction and as a link to your paid products or other items that you're selling. Or you could charge them an enrollment fee for this. But Nuvo will take around about 8% from you. But it's still good value when you consider that all of the computing power and everything else comes to you free of charge. Let's see how we can charge our students an enrollment fee for the course. So here we are back at our learning portal and the usual curriculum all there. As we've seen so often, we actually go into this section called Setup. You see that, the second item from the top there on the left. And in the Setup we could change the start and end dates. We could put some information here. The area that we want is down here. The payment system at the moment is free, or the student pays for it. Watch these as well. I'm also going to check off in advertising in the e-learning market, which is a wonderful bit of free advertising. And auto invite on request. Click that on as well. the way in which this system works is that the student or prospective student actually has to request an invitation from you to join. Now this could be as a result of a mailing, an email mailing, where they'll click on a link, or they could find their way through the e-learning market or the portals to request you. I'm going to turn on auto invite on request, so that if anyone shows interest, they'll get the invitation. But the payment system, as I say, you could leave it free to use this as a loss leader, if you like. But I'm going to go student, and the price per student I'm going to put at $20. And the transaction fee automatically there, Nuvo will take $2.32. So you'll get, sorry, that should be $20, not $29. And so they're taking 1.6, giving you a net payment of $18.40. And we'll update the course here. And that's then done, successfully updated. What will happen is that the students will pay the fee via their credit cards and upon their first sign-in, and you will get the rest of the money via check or PayPal, and you'll receive an email when your when your payment is ready. So now, whether you've chosen to make it free or to charge a fee, we're ready to start enrolling students. Module 11, Invite and Enroll Students. Now, students don't just arrive coming through your front door handing over their checks to you. It doesn't work that way. You have to invite and enroll them. Now, I'm going to spend a little time on this because the way in which Nuvo actually enrolls students and invites them is slightly different from anything we've been used to within inside any kind of marketing area. You don't just sign up and pay. Basically, you have to invite them, and then they have to respond to the invitation and then enroll. Let me show you what I mean, and then I'll show you perhaps a better way of handling it. This is the standard way of doing it. We'll jump to our course, HSC 001, and we'll go to Enrollment. I've actually got one person enrolled. That's telling me my firewall has expired. Great stuff. Now, if you want to invite a student, you press this link here, invite students, and you put your first name, last name, and email addresses. And there's a little text for your email. And what would happen is that they would get an email saying you've been invited to join this course, and then they would click on the link and sign up, and you would get an email saying someone wants to join the course, and then you say yes, they can come on it, and then they'll get another email back saying you've been accepted, sign on, etc., etc. Now, what we have done, if you will recollect, we ticked the auto sign-on box, auto enroll box, so that anyone that responds to an invitation or makes an inquiry is signed up immediately. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go to Nuvo's home page first of all. Nuvo.com. Just wait for this to come up. And here we are. This is their front page. We'll find a course to search. And here we are in the learning market here. If we come down, there we go, Homeschooling 101. Now if I click on this link, Here's an introduction to the course, and the prospective student would request an enrollment. As they filled this out, they would immediately be told you've been accepted straight away, because there's automatic acceptance. They would then get an email with a user ID and password, a login ID and password, and then they would be prompted if there's payment involved to pay through their credit card. Now, this is how I would advertise this. I would make a note of this URL at the top here, which is our site page. Do a Control C or a copy there. I would then edit my own home site. Now, I do have skillsu.com, which is something I'm playing around with, but I also have a site called, let's get rid of this first, www.successfulhomeschooling.net. This is a nice little site, successfulhomeschooling.net. I'm giving away a free audio presentation here, which is a lovely name squeeze page. Let me just show you the product. We're going to the main sales page. And here we are. I'm actually selling an ebook here, Parent's Guide to Successful Homeschooling, but I could very easily make this a sign up for a course. And what would I put here when it says click to order or click to sign up for the course? Well, you'll remember we copied that very, very long URL. I would probably go to tinyurl.com and I would get a little URL to replace that very, very long one. I will paste that in, make a tiny URL, and it's this URL, tinyurl.com F55BK. This is the one that I would put on my sales page if they wanted to sign up for the course. Let me open that in a new window. As you can see, it's going to tinyurl F55BK and reroutes to our sign up page. Fill in the box and away we go. Now they will then receive an email, as I said, with a login and a password, and I'll show you what they see here. Let me clear this down, go back, and let's get back to our home page for a moment. And the prospective student is told to sign in at skillsulearnhub.net with the email. This is their login one, which is sales@orders247.com, and they're given a password as well. Let's sign in. Jack Smith was the name of my user. We'll say view, and they get this here. You can see it's $20 to join, or they could decline it, but they've already signed up, so let's get them to join. And they're now going to have to pay a fee. This page contains both secure and non-secure items. Do you want to display the non-secure items? Just a little trick that a lot of people don't understand. If you've got a secure page under HTTPS, you've also got to put your graphics under that area as well. If those are in a non-secure area, your end user is going to get this. End of tip. Yes, we do want to display them, and here we are. $20. It's secure, and then they'll pay. So that's inviting and enrolling our students. Module 12. communicating with students and additional teaching. Well, I'm assuming your students have signed up for your course and now it's time to teach them. Most of the material will of course be pre-programmed. It's in the system there ready for them to read or to carry out their assignments, but there's always going to be times when you need to speak to your students and carry on some kind of dialogue there, or you may wish to provide additional teaching to them. Let's see a number of ways in which we can do this then. Here we are back in our university portal, and we want to go to the side menu here marked Messages. Not this one here, Message Center. If we click on this, it'll just tell us we've got no messages. Let's go back to the page before, and we want to go to Messages here. This also tells us we have no messages, but I'm going to create a new message in HSC 001. That's our course title, our course designator rather, and I'm going to send a message called Welcome to the course, and I'm going to say hi there. Let's go back a bit, and welcome to Home Schooling 101. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Regards, Leonard, the instructor. Tor. Let's scroll down a bit. I'm going to select the message recipient as Jack Smith and send the message. That's it. It was sent out to everyone that needed it. Now I'm going to sign out at this stage, and I'm going to sign back in as Jack. Put my password in. Sign in. There's Jack Smith's home, and there's a message for me. Well, what do you know? Welcome to the course. What does he say to me? He says, hi there, welcome to Homeschooling 101. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Well, that's lovely. That's lovely. I'm going to send a comment back to him anyway. I think this is how it works. Thanks. Is there any chance in getting a sneak preview of the material? Regards, Jack. And I'm going to submit this. And that's it. Now I'm going to sign out here. I'm going to sign back in. As the moderator, the owner. There we go, it's signed in here. And it says, oh, I have a new message as well from Jack Smith. What do you know? Hi there. That's my original. And he's come back again. Is there any chance of getting a sneak preview? And I can add another comment here and send it back to Jack. So you can see how this conversation can continue between yourself and your student, and you'll have all of your messages here which you can continue to add to and carry out the conversation or provide materials to them. Let's go back to the home page. Let me just say that, yes, every conversation, just in case I didn't make that clear, as more and more comments are made into your conversation, you'll have more and more items added to the conversation here. So in many ways, that's a history of your conversation there. Let's go home there. Another way of communicating with your students is actually to post blogs. And rather than talking to an individual student, you can talk to your entire class directly. And they're text pages of any length that you write and post, and your students can then read and respond to them. It's always a good idea to write an introductory blog to start off with. Let's jump to course, which we have done, and then click on blogs. There we go, down here on the left. And I'm going to here to create our first blog in HSC 001. There you go. Welcome to Home Schooling 101. As your instructor, I want to welcome you to Home Schooling 101, etc., etc., etc. You will want to fill this out with something good to be saying, an introduction to who you are, etc., and something about the course. Start the new blog there, and there it is. There's the blog itself, and people can add to it and view it. Let me sign out again, and I'm going to sign in again as Mr. Smith. And we also have new blogs there. And I could add something to that, and in fact every member will see this blog, whereas on the individual messages that we saw a moment ago, those are individual messages to your individual students. So there you go. You can talk to your students. You could perhaps give them additional emails, link them to additional video modules or whatever, or talk to them about upgrading to another course, which maybe will bring in a little more income. Module 13: Grading the evaluation pages. Evaluating students is really easy. Because you've entered the correct answers when you built your evaluation pages, multiple choice and true or false questions are graded automatically, and the marks and the course final marks are calculated automatically. The only thing you need to do is to evaluate your students, is to grade the subjective questions, and the system will take care of the rest. Let me log on as a student and then complete a couple of those things, and we'll see how this works. Now I'm going to sign on as the student over here. And my password. And so we're logged on. And let's jump to the course here. There's obviously those messages we were looking at in earlier modules. Someone else has actually signed on to this course in the meantime. Let's go to the curriculum. And here we are. Now I've released a couple of the items so that we can get to work. You'll remember the introduction, which was a multimedia file. Remember that. Let's just wait for that to come up. Make sure that's still working. Yes, it is. Let's go back to the curriculum. And I'll go to the evaluation now. The first evaluation, you'll remember that. Question 1. Is time commitment a major factor in homeschooling? Yes, it is. And is it okay for only one parent to be happy with homeschooling for the children? Let's say false on that one. No, it is true. Well, it would be false, sorry, for one parent to be happy. Let's say it's true, because I actually want to get that answer wrong. And let's say next. No, because there's nothing else there. Let's go back and submit the answers. Yes, we do. And we've submitted it. Back to the curriculum. And I couldn't do that again. Let me just check that to see whether in fact you can access it. No. It showed me the evaluation. And I got 0 for that second one, which was, well, at least we can see that is working. I'm now going to go to the student SN evaluation. Remember, we only gave one question, one point for this one. So they want to say what worked well for me, positive aspects and what items needed to be better. I could write any text in here. This is free form. Yep. And this one here, how I would set about the initial research. I'm not going to add anything there. I'm not going to upload a file at this point, but you can see how that would work. I'm actually going to put some boilerplate text in here, I think. There we go. Bit of Latin, or what purports to be Latin, and I'm going to submit the answers. Yes. And I'll go back. Let's look at the marking scheme. And let's take a look at the grades so far. You've got 5 points out of 10 there, and it's been received but not marked yet. So that's it. I'm Jack Smith, I'm the student, and I've submitted everything I need to. I'm going to sign out now. And now I'm going to sign in as the tutor. And sign in. Now, having signed up, should I say signed on as the tutor, and come to the course, HSC 01, I need to go to grades, and here is an item here that requires marking. And there you go, this is 1 point there. I put quite a lot of text in there. And I would actually, if I had an uploaded file, if they had an uploaded file, I would pick that up there by clicking on here. What we do is to click on this plus mark, and we can add our comments to it. Blah blah blah. Yes, this was a good essay, and we're going to give him the 1 mark that he needed. Remember, it's only a maximum of 1. And on this one, if I had picked up the uploaded file, I'm going to give him 70 points, I think, for this one. 70 out of 89. 70 out of 89. See how you give the points there. So there we're done. And you repeat that until you've graded everything that you need. And once you've completed, the system automatically calculates the final mark and displays it for the student to view. Module 14, Best Practices. We're not quite at the end of our video yet, but we're almost there. And before we reach our final segment, I want to have a word about best practices, some useful hints to make the most out of your Internet University. Firstly, take it personally. You know, a course without an instructor is just a web page. Your personal touch is what will really engage your students and help them learn. When you're designing your course, endeavour to make a personal connection with your students by letting your individual personality shine through your course. The more students feel that they are benefiting from you personally and not an inanimate web page, the more they'll respond to your teaching. Suggestions for getting personal could be: introduce yourself. Give your students some background info on you and why you're teaching the course. Write in a conversational tone. Include pictures of yourself. Upload a personalized video or audio message. Make yourself available to chat via Skype. And write personal messages to each of your students, welcoming them to the course and offering your assistance. Get involved. Very related to best practice number 1 is best practice number 2, get involved. Your students will get more out of the course if you're often in there helping them to do it. Log in at least once a day to answer messages, post comments to student blogs, add new material and keep an eye on things. You'll help keep interest up and discussion moving. As I say, sign in at least once a day, preferably more. Send a message to welcome new students, to encourage shy students to engage in the discussion, to remind students of upcoming course events. Use Skype to speak directly to your students. Post new Learn pages with requested files or new ideas. Blog frequently and invite comments and encourage discussion. You might want to offer a taster course. It's a perfect tool to build trust and advertise your paid courses. Students will not necessarily be fully convinced to take your course by the description, and seeing an example of your work will convince prospective students that your material, time and experience are valuable. Here's a few different ways you could run your taster course. Run a perpetual course where it's offered for a long time and set to accept automatic enrollment requests. That way it's always there and students can see it whenever they like. Maybe run a course for a short period of time, say 1 week before your paid course starts. Or post the first 2 or 3 modules or learn pages from your paid course into your taster course. Build your course in layers. More than ever before, the web provides opportunities for multi-layered learning. Students can skim or go deeper, seek more information or a summary, go left or right, control their own learning. Giving your students these opportunities within this system is a key to satisfying course experience. This also gives your course the flexibility to speak to learners who want a quick overview and learners who want detail and context. A number of things could help your course be multi-layered. Keep your primary text short. Use images to communicate information quickly. Use bold and colored text to highlight key points on the page. Provide extended commentary with podcasts, blog posts, video tutorials and other media. And provide links to other more in-depth resources on the web. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Now, clarity is very important in any teaching situation, but particularly in online learning where you can't observe your students to see whether they understand your material or instructions. Make sure you outline the goals for your course, the reason the course exists, and what your learners should be doing while taking your course. Also provide very specific instructions on how to take your course and how they should interact with you and their fellow instructions. Do not assume that all students have the same facility with technology that you do, so keep the instructions simple and specific. Maybe at the beginning of the course, make sure that you can answer these questions for your students. Why should I take this course? What will I get out of it? How do I take this course? And how do I get in touch with my instructor if I have any questions? Chunk and schedule. These 2 points are separate but related. They both involve time. Chunking is the process of breaking your content into the kind of small, digestible chunks typical of current internet style. Scheduling is just that, setting definite, specific times when students should accomplish certain things in your course, take a test, or meet online for discussion. Both strategies will help keep your students on track and avoid bogging down your users with an intimidating glut of uniform content. Number of strategies. Consider using many short modules or learn pages rather than one long learn page. Similarly, replace one long course end examination with several short quizzes offered at staggered times. Not something I did in my example, but good point to remember. Use the hide and release learn page function to hide and release content according to your schedule. And use this function to ensure students don't race ahead or lag behind. Release lessons weekly and hide quizzes after their scheduled date has gone. And also, as ever, schedule specific times when you'll be online to interact with students. Interactivity. The brother to the best practices 1 and 2. Interactivity is the practice of building your course so that there are lots of things for your students to actively do rather than passively read. Reading, sure, is important, but make sure to pack your course with activities that engage students. Also, key to this process is instructor-student interaction and student-student interaction. Make connections with your students and build activities where they'll make connection with each other. As I say, give students plenty of activities and tasks. Keep the reading short and light. Require students to write blogs, comment on other blogs and discuss the material. Use Skype, again, to talk to your students and encourage them to talk to each other. Next, provide incentives, rewards and milestones. Make sure to always give your learners something to shoot for. This is going to motivate them to start, work on, and finish the course. Some learners may be motivated by the simple desire to learn your material. Others will need an extra push. Milestones will help learners along the path to finishing the course. Give them some recognition, even if it's just a pat on the back for getting through the first half of the course, finishing the first test, or submitting their last assignment. Give them some incentives. Offer learners discounts on future courses if they finish with a high mark. If you're an author, throw in a copy of your book. If you're doing corporate training, tie your course to accreditation and job tasks so that learners will be able to perform more tasks or earn higher salary once they've completed your course. Maybe you can offer 1 hour of free personal coaching for every learner who finishes your course. Next then, test and invite user feedback. Testing doesn't have to be mean and scary. Rather than creating a stressful and unfriendly situation, testing can give you some great feedback on how your students are doing. Consider testing in your course even if there are no grades involved, and this will give you great information on how effective your course is and what your students are getting out of it. Also make sure to invite user feedback to give you more fodder for self-improvement. The more overall information you can collect, the more you can refine your course for the future. Test briefly and frequently. 10 small quizzes better than 1 long exam. Offer rewards for the most extensive feedback, and give students goals to work towards. Use the web and classroom to your advantage. The Internet University that you're going to build on Nouveau doesn't have to stand alone. Use the linking power of the web to link to other web resources. Use links to support your material or send students to further information, maybe your own website. Pull in information from other web applications you use or any other web work you're doing. Maybe free online textbooks, or encyclopedia articles, or social networking sites. There's certainly quite a bit of free educational content on iTunes. So there you go. 10 good, useful hints and tips to enable you to get some best practices in. Module 15. Some back-end business ideas. Well, we're almost at the end of our video now. We're on our final module, and I want to look at just a couple of back-end business ideas. These are not complete, and I'm sure you could think of a whole lot more, but here's one or two to get your creative juices flowing. Firstly, think of making a PDF of the course. Create an ebook of all of your content and use that to drive additional revenue. You could make that PDF, that ebook, a product all on its own, or you could sell it to your students as an additional item there. Think about creating a hardback book. Two companies that will help you do that, Lulu and Cafe Press. Here's Cafe Press, and you can create t-shirts, mugs, all kinds of stuff, but you can do books with them as well. They're good, very effective, and they do a lot of this kind of work. The other company that I mentioned, Lulu.com, strange name. Half expect a rock singer to come out singing "Shout." Lulu.com. There we go. I'm sorry, that shows you how old I am. Let's wait for Lulu to come up. And here we are, Lulu in the UK. You can create books. They're very, very good at books, but they also do CDs, DVDs, all kinds of stuff. There's no setup fees, no minimum order. worthwhile looking at. It's always good to have a hardback book published under your own name. Gives you a lot of authority. So there you go. Look at both Cafe Press and Lulu and create your own hardback book. And finally on this section, maybe use your course as a list builder. Why don't you think about giving it away for free and build up your list? Your list is gold after all. Get those email addresses and names in. Well, that's about it. I do hope you've enjoyed the course. These are just a few ideas that I've put in here, and I do hope that they'll get your creative juices working, as it were. I do hope to see you again soon. Good luck and have fun in your project.